So my goal, no, that's not my goal. My goal in the next 6 minutes is, maybe 7 minutes, sorry, is to prove to all of you the profound relevance of the education system to your lives, to your ambitions, your skill sets, your most closely held commitments. To do this, I'm going to start big and pretty bleak. You already got a preview. So bear with me. We are going somewhere. Poverty, social inequality, and economic insecurity are three of the largest, most seemingly insurmountable problems facing our world, our nation, our generation. I'm going to assume, and I think safely, that all of you believe in justice, that it's a necessary good, and that you feel committed to working towards it, and or that you want your future as individuals, as a nation, to be bright. Well, these three realities indicate a failing infrastructure, which perpetuates injustice and guarantees a nation less bright and less prosperous than it could be. So even if these words on a screen alone don't compel us to take action, our ambitions don't allow us to ignore them. Our growth, our survival even, depends upon our ability and our willingness to work against the social systems that are currently failing us. So there are a few things that are required of a social group capable of achieving such a huge, foundation-shaking, even revolutionary task. We need an entire generation that is capable of survival, there it is, despite the hardships that are thrust upon them. We need a generation that's capable of growth, despite the often stifling effects of the three problems I just identified. And ultimately, we need a generation with such a strength of conviction, such a sense of dignity, that they challenge and reshape what they've inherited because they're not capable of doing otherwise. So we only have access to one tool that allows for even the potential to cultivate a generation like that, and it's the compulsory education system. It's the tool that was dubbed the Great Equalizer, not because it turned out to be the Great Equalizer, but because it had and still has that potential. I suggest we call it the Great Generator of creativity, of energy, of inspiration, of dignity, of progress. And not because it currently is the great generator, at least not for everyone, but because, again, it has that potential. So the education system faces its own distinct set of large, seemingly insurmountable problems. And many people think the only path to positive change is money. I don't see how it's anything but people. People energize, people create, people instill and honor dignity, people inspire, people educate, and people support educators. So the single most valuable resource to the single most important piece of our infrastructure is sitting in front of me. You are the single most valuable resource on the planet. But there's not an obvious mechanism through which to direct this incredible resource. Right now, the only formal opportunities you have to activate your commitment to education are to become a career educator, an education policymaker, or to pursue a teaching fellowship. There are a lot of you, and a lot of others like you, who aren't planning to pursue any of those three options. So we have to create a new avenue for impact, for change. And that is really hard to do, especially in a sector as large, with as much complexity, historical context, and political rigidity as education. To do it, to erode the barriers that separate this sector from the people who aren't explicitly affiliated with it, takes a lot of time, some sort of wildly relentless creativity, and some chutzpah, a strong enough belief in yourself to challenge what is in pursuit of what should be. We are the only social group I know of that possesses all of that time, creativity, and gall. As college students, we're in the business of proving to ourselves and everyone else that we care deeply, that we can dream and do big things. If there's any area in which we have enough experience to dream and do truly innovative work, it's education, given that we've all spent the majority of our lives as objects of it, and that it ultimately concerns the nourishing of people, which is something we all know at least a little bit about. Right now, I'm standing in a 3-mile radius of 45,000 young people, all working toward practical expertise in virtually every field. Many of us want desperately to change the world. Many of us actually believe that we can, and some of us, as it turns out, will. Imagine how the world might change if all 45,000 of us collectively pledged to integrate our studies, our ambition, our talent, our energy into the larger world, into the public sector, specifically education, given its unparalleled importance to our ambition for a better future. Imagine how the world might change if hundreds of thousands of college students around the country made that same pledge. I imagine college students launching youth enrichment programs, staffing entire community centers, doubling the staff of a school building with the simple purpose of supporting educators and administrators do what they've been trained to do. I imagine college students urging successfully the College Board to adopt a policy in which they guarantee equal access to all people for their test prep resources and materials. We need to acknowledge our uniquely powerful force of transformative change. We can urge our professors to infuse their curriculum with more opportunities and challenges for young people to integrate their practical skill set in context. Miami University in Ohio just earned a Presidential Service Award for saving a local school district $8.2 million in the last 10 years by flooding it with their most valuable resource, which was their students. Miami of Ohio is in Ohio, so I know that we can beat them. But not too badly, because I'm from Ohio. So if we want justice, if we want a bright future, if we want generations of strong, nourished, happy people, let's build it. The world is ready when we are. Thank you.